One decision where most incoming presidents have found unity is the open secret of Israel's nuclear weapons arsenal. Each recent incoming administration has refused to acknowledge that Israel has nuclear weapons, and which facilitates hundreds of billions of dollars going to the Middle Eastern nation despite prohibitions against funding nuclear weapons proliferators. Grant Smith is director of the Washington, D.C.-based Institute for Research, Middle Eastern Policy.
The primary purpose of the arsenal is deterrence, not allowing rivals in the region to think that they would be able to successfully overrun the country without any substantial consequences. The whole fact of the U.S.'s non-proliferation efforts and, again, the sort of non-acknowledgments of its existence cause a lot of complications, and there are also legal issues with U.S. aid disbursements involved.
Even on official lists of nuclear states, you never see Israel.
No, you don't see Israel, and in fact, even President Obama went to some lengths to issue policy directives inside the government saying, look, we're not going to be talking about this at all publicly. It's something the Israelis realize is an irritant. The U.S. can't really be a bona fide non-proliferation leader and speak with any authority because, as the Israelis have acknowledged and some of their leading thinkers have acknowledged, this is an irritant to the U.S. The United States and the Kennedy administration was opposed to Israel going nuclear. They've been opposed to efforts for Israel to, in one case, attempt to sell weapons to a friendly ally. And so this has just been something that's been ongoing.
What's the purpose of not talking about it or not recognizing it? They have it either way, and it's beyond being secret.
They've gotten to the point where the Israelis are approaching U.S. presidents the moment they enter office and asking them to sign a letter not to out the program. And the purpose, we believe, is because part of the Arms Export Control Act, two parts of it, the Symington and Glenn amendments, specifically forbid the United States to deliver foreign aid to any country that's trafficking in nuclear weapons technology outside the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency. So the reason to not acknowledge the arsenal, the reason to avoid all public comment about it, is that if a United States president admits that Israel is a nuclear power, he's got to notify Congress that he's going to break this section of the Arms Export Control Act and deliver standard aid to a nuclear power that's not abiding by IAEA. So it's got real policy consequences.
In Iran, there must be a feeling of, if they have it, why shouldn't we have it?
Right. And one of the reasons that some at the Begin Sadat Center, a leading think tank back in the day, they speculated, our rivals are going to attempt to put chemical weapons on long-range missiles. They're going to attempt to have their own nuclear weapons programs because of this deterrent. But Iran absolutely feels that way, and they also are under IAEA monitoring. So they feel the double sting of being constantly castigated for their program and also abiding by IAEA inspections, which Israel does not. Now, that doesn't keep members of Congress from threatening to withhold IAEA funding if Israel is denied its place as a participant in their programs, which is extremely ironic. So in one sense, we're bullying the IAEA and also letting Israel do what it wants in this arena.
What are the implications?
It helps touch off an arms race, and every taxpayer in the United States is going to be hearing a lot about maintaining Israel's qualitative nuclear edge. And they're going to be asked to meet tit for tat if there are arms sales to UAE, particularly advanced stealth fighters. They're going to be asked to pay for Israel to get stealth fighters. The big implication is that in none of these conversations is there going to be any true discussion of Israel's ultimate deterrence. And we think that it's long past time for that discussion to occur.
And what's your message to President Biden, President-elect Biden?
Why don't you come clean on this? And when a reporter asks you about it, answer that you know that they do have an arsenal and that the U.S. is going to take that into account when it's asking taxpayers and others around the world questions about non-proliferation and additional aid.
Do you expect he'll be different than these other presidents, including his old boss?
I suspect not. Barack Obama signed the letter just the same as Donald Trump and George W. Bush and Bill Clinton. So the odds are that he'll just continue rolling this log along.
Grant Smith is director of the Washington, D.C.-based Institute for Research, Middle Eastern Policy.